God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good. Come on, can you sing that to him? Lord, we say today, you're so good. We're so grateful for your kindness and your faithfulness. You're so good. You're so good to me.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. God, you're so good to me. Yo, I've been out this week traveling, had some assignments, but I am back. And yo, you don't want to miss today. I've been waiting on today for about 2 years. I mean, yo, I got a special guest in the building today. I cannot wait. So send it to somebody. Say, hey, we own today. Come on in the room. Welcome to Good News Today. Yo, share it, post it, let them know. Get ready. We about to have a good day. Here we go. Come on. Let's go.
Joy, pains, ups, downs are working all day. Everything's gonna be okay. Gonna hear some
We gonna have a good time today. Hey.
pains, ups, downs are working all day. Everything's gonna be okay.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son,
Everything's gonna be okay.
that whosoever will believe in him shall not perish but have
Everything's gonna be okay.
everlasting life.
Gonna hear some good news today.
Yo, turn my mic up. Y'all ain't see this coming. Get ready to catch this. Come to snatch your righteous mind, not your edges. God is the goal, and then there's the period. This thing is real.
Woo child, we serious.
Intentional,
Hey.
original. God is in control. Do it for your soul. Gotta let the
Whole world know.
Hey yo, hey yo.
Everything's gonna be okay. Put it in the comments. Tell somebody.
Everything's gonna be okay. Gonna hear some good news today.
Good news today. Good news. Good news. Good news today. Yo, what up? What up? What up? Welcome to Good News Today. Listen, I am so excited. Put it in the comments. Tell somebody everything's gonna be okay. EGB okay. EG, everything's gonna be okay. Yo, I am so excited. I've been waiting on this all week long. Y'all have heard of her. Y'all have heard her name so many times. And she is in the building today. Before I bring her up though, here's a question. Here's how I want to set it up. Yo, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. We're watching the Super Bowl in another week or two. And I guess the question is, can you imagine watching the Super Bowl and they don't post the scores? You have no idea what the score is. Can you imagine playing the game, watching the game, and they never tell you what the score is? Like, it's frustrating because you don't know if you're winning, you don't know if you're losing, you don't know what's going on. Can you imagine watching a game with no scores? You can try to keep up with it on your hand, but if it goes back and forth, like inevitably, if you're going to watch the game or if you're going to be in the game, you want to know what the score is. There was a book that came out. The title of alone challenged me. The title alone, it says, Your Body Keeps Score. And I realized I was going through my life and not watching the score. Like, and not paying attention to the score. If there was a score available for you to tell you how you were doing in the game, if there was a score available, would you want to know your score? Would you want to know your score? The body keeps score. Here's who helps me keep score and pay attention to how I'm doing and what I'm doing. Dr. Tamika. Hold on a second. Let me just set this up. There we go. There she is. She's in the building.
What's
Hey,
up?
Doc, what's up?
Woo! I need to keep score. I want this. I would leave the game. I wouldn't even watch the game if I didn't have score. If that was,
You know what I'm saying? Like, you would not, who would do that? But I think so many of us with our bodies, we don't pay attention. Some of us, to be honest, we think we're keeping score, but we don't even know what scores to look at. So if your body was a game, like what scores are we even should be looking at and monitoring and paying attention to? One of the things that you have done with me that as we're in this community, we got 100 days where we're focusing, and fitness and health is one of our big focuses. And one of the things as I started, I knew I had to sit down with you so you could give me my scores. You could give me and let me know, all right, where you are, how you are. So we sat down last week, and it was the most depressing, discouraging hour. Nah, it wasn't. It was really good. What I love about Dr. Tamika, she encourages you, but she also keeps it real, and she tells you the truth about where you are. So we're going to get into all of that. I'm so excited. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Notice, I have a famous, Dr. Tamika, I have a famous cup where I used to drink coffee out of with a bunch of cream and sugar. Then you had me on monk fruit. So the whole community was discovering monk fruit. And after our meeting last week, I was about to go fix it. I was like, I ain't about to get in trouble on air. So I got a bottle of water, Jack. I'm drinking water today. I'm putting water in my cup. I want y'all to see this water go in this cup. This is what I'm sipping. Ain't nothing in here. I got this honey. I don't see no honey. No honey's in here. Nowhere. I don't see. There's no honey in here. First of all, so tell us what you do and your passion for what you do.
So what I practice is something called functional medicine. Now, what that is code word for getting your body to work the way it's supposed to work, so you can feel the way you really want to feel and do the things you really want to do. So that's what I practice. And even though I have to say this, because you just said it was depressing, well, yeah, it was encouraging, but I need all of you to understand this. Your body has gotten you to where you are right now. So let's recognize that, and let's not beat it up.
Yeah, it's been good.
It's been good.
Yeah, that's good. So tell me the difference between, so functional medicine as opposed to, did you go to medical school?
So exactly. I am a board certified family medicine physician. I went to USC undergrad, USC medical school. So I was trained in the traditional system where you're really, sometimes we would say, reacting to things. So a person comes in and you may have some heartburn. And so you may reach for what? What do you guys reach for if you have heartburn? You may type it in the chat.
Tums.
Like, okay, and Tums. And then after a period of time, the Tums may not work. So then you may reach for Pepcid or you reach for all these things. But as a functional medicine doctor, we want to get to the root cause. What's the why? Why are you reaching for the things? Is there something else going on that we need to go after? Is it something you're eating? Is it the dairy? Is it the soy? Is it the chips? Is it the coffee? Is it the wine to wind down? Why is this happening? So that's how we approach it.
Wow. Okay. So a couple of things, because people ask this, because it's a lot of people out here in these streets, Dr. Tamika, that ain't went to no school, that's selling solutions and oils and special coffees and teas and stuff, and they just went on Google. So you are officially, professionally trained, certified physician. Why did you choose, instead of going down the traditional method, why did you choose this functional method?
So I started out practicing traditional medicine as a family medicine doctor. And as I went along and looked into my family, and then I worked in skilled nursing facilities, and I just kept seeing the same people coming in and out with the same issues. And I realized I was already doing some form of functional medicine, but didn't know it was called functional medicine. What I mean by that is I would say, okay, let's try decreasing your stress. What about let's get you to moving, or how can I get you to sleep more? What about increasing your vitamin D level? Not realizing that there's actually something out there that's called functional medicine that does that. And so what functional medicine does, if you think about a person who has acne, many people will reach for a cream, a solution, and rub it on and so forth. But the skin is a direct manifestation of the gut. So if we get the gut right, more than likely we're going to get the skin right. So that's the big difference. It's like, how do you get layers and get to the root cause? And many of you are already doing this in your own way, where you're looking for something. You're looking for a pill, a solution. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on TikTok, you're on YouTube. Well, TikTok was gone for a little bit, so you probably had an issue there. But many of you have already been on Google at Google University trying to find an answer. And what you're practicing something is what I call the HAP method, which is hoping and a praying something's gonna work. It's like something's got to work in here. So functional medicine is really just pulling back layers, looking for the root cause, and then helping you help your body work the way it's supposed to work, so you can feel good.
Okay, so we're gonna work the comments while we got the doctor here. First of all, I love that, hoping and a praying. Is there somebody put in the chat something that you've been hoping and praying that would get better, and that you've been struggling with, and we'll have her speaking to that as we have the conversation a little bit here. What's crazy is, Dr. Tamika, that it's actually, you got traditional medicine and then you got functional medicine. The implication is all traditional medicine ain't functional.
Hello.
So that's the challenge, right? And then people. And what you're saying is you go to the root problem. So you're not just writing prescriptions. I got high blood pressure. Let me give you a high blood pressure pill. You go into the why do you have high blood pressure, and how can we treat this in a way that doesn't require you to have to take a pill forever. Okay, so we got a couple of things. We got a couple of weight loss. We got high blood pressure. We got bloating from any food. And what was another one? Sugar cravings. I know you will love all that. You like all of these are tied together. So let's take one. Which one you want to tackle? High blood pressure, weight loss, migraines. Which one? Let's
go to migraines first.
Okay.
So one of the things I would think about with migraines is immediately, how's your sleep? How's your stress? What's going on with your magnesium level? Right? So when we think about magnesium, a low magnesium can also be attributed to migraines. I'm also wondering about your eyesight. When's the last time you had your vision checked? So we're going to continue to pull back those layers. And then, are there certain foods that trigger it? So is there a particular time of day or night that makes it worse? Is there something that makes it better? What have you tried? What hasn't worked? And then, so we're going to keep pulling back and seeing from there. And then I want to look at what other inflammatory markers are going on in your body. So inflammation, if you don't hear anything I say today, remember this: inflammation is the root of all evil. And what is inflammation? So if you scratch the back of your hand and you continue to scratch, eventually it's going to turn red, start to bleed, and it's going to get infected and look horrible. That's external inflammation. Internal inflammation is like headaches, bloating, feeling like something's off, back pain, knee pain. All this stuff is going on in the inside. So we want to work and pull back the layers and figure out what's going on related to inflammation as regarding to migraines. Don't give up. And how hydrated are you? Many people, like you, Pastor Tate, you drinking water right now. Many people don't drink enough water, and that could be a root cause as well.
How do you know whether or not you're drinking enough water?
Immediately, I would ask you this: how is your urine looking like lemonade or Gatorade? So if your urine looks like Gatorade, it's too dark. Lemonade is lighter in color. So you want to make certain that you are drinking.
Oh, because lemonade, Gatorade, my color Gatorade is red. So if your urine looking like, when I think of Gatorade, I think about the Kool-Aid looking Gatorade. So you ain't talking about that. That's go to the hospital immediately if it's that. But you're talking about between a darker yellow and a lighter yellow. So it should look like a light lemonade.
A light lemonade. And the other thing is, the minute you are thirsty, you are dehydrated. So you're like, oh, I'm thirsty. You're dehydrated.
Huh.
So all the times you're walking around like, let me grab something to drink, you're already dehydrated. So I need you to drink more so.
Really? So we ain't supposed to be thirsty?
No, you should be drinking all throughout the day.
Wow. So that's a biggie. I'm
Right.
thirsty all the time.
You're probably dehydrated all
I'm
the time.
dehydrated all the time. I think I live. And what are the consequences of being dehydrated?
Constipation, headaches, feeling sluggish, fatigued, everything's you're not able to detox. We also think about your skin being impacted, your organs being impacted. There's so much.
What brings so inflammation? If that's the root of all evil, let's dig into inflammation. How do we? What foods? What causes inflammation? What causes inflammation?
Let's start with the first thing you said. Let's talk about food in particular. So when we think about the things we eat, some highly inflaming foods that we can discuss right now: corn,
Corn.
corn. So when you think about the corn chips,
Oh.
we think about the tacos, we think about popcorn.
Those are highly inflammatory foods.
Highly-
Corn. Okay. What's the next one? Dairy.
Oh, I know. Don't hate the messenger right now. Dairy.
Lord have mercy.
Look, just breathe through it. Breathe through it. So we think about dairy. If that's milk, ice cream, yogurt, cream cheese, low fat, no fat, skim milk, dairy. So, and when I say this doesn't mean that there's not an alternative. If you're someone who has to do cheese or something, I'd want you to do a non-dairy cheese. So be careful because people will reach for everything. So I would think more of like a cashew-based cheese or almond-based cheese. But if you had to have a cheese, if you just like, I refuse to give it up. So I'm going to meet you where you are. So I want you to get a high quality cheese, like the ones that's more expensive where you got to go to the dairy market and get it. So those type of cheeses, but dairy is highly inflaming.
So the high quality cheese is a little better.
It's a little better. Yeah. If you had to
little
have
better.
it. And
Okay.
I would spread it out. Like don't have it every day. Maybe you have it twice a week. Maybe it be
Okay.
a reward towards you. So
Got it.
we have corn, we have soy. Soy is highly inflaming. So a lot of people reach for soy milk. They'll reach for soy yogurt. There's soy in tofu. Soy is in a lot of places too.
Okay. Okay. High blood pressure.
So let's think about high blood pressure. I mean, some people have a family history, but even though you have a family history, let me be very clear. Genes load the gun. It doesn't pull the trigger. So let me say that again. Genes load the gun. It doesn't pull the trigger, which means just because your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother had high blood pressure doesn't necessarily mean you have it. So key thing I want to know is, what are you eating? Some people are salt sensitive, meaning that when they eat certain foods with salt, it causes a raise in their blood pressure. There's also can be a deficiency in nitric oxide. You can have a deficiency in things like magnesium. There's things that are underlying that could be related to it. So some people who have tried everything and it's resistant, maybe there's something that's going on internally, like renal artery stenosis. So although I'm saying look for the root cause, there are some things internally that's with your body that can impact it. And just some people are just prone to it, but you want to do as much as possible to decrease the likelihood. So don't forget the basics. What are you eating? How's your sleep? How's your movement? And I don't like to use the word exercise because it's a bad word. It's a bad 8-letter word in my practice. So we got to get up and MOVE, right? Move. Like right now, some of you should be moving the shoulders, sitting down, moving your head, if you're in the car, roll it back, but you have to move. We get so caught up. We get so focused on the TV, on the screens, on our phones, on our laptops, whatever the case may be, but you got to move. You got to do all the things you possibly can do to help with your blood pressure and with you overall.
Got it. How do you get rid of inflammation? So if you got inflammation, how do you get rid of it?
So let's start with the basics. The first thing I want to know is I'd want to look at your blood work. So there's 2 markers. If I could teach you this, 2 markers that I get in all my patients. It's a C-reactive protein, HS, which is high sensitivity, and something called homocysteine. Both of those are inflammation markers. The reason why I bring them up is because C-reactive protein deals with blood vessels of the heart. Homocysteine deals with blood vessels of the heart. It deals with blood vessels of the brain, and it's associated with dementia. So when we're talking about these things, one of the things I want you to go back to is always thinking back to the basics. So what do we do to go after inflammation? We got to clean up our eating. I've already told you this, and I'm going to hone in on it because if I had to pick between exercise and food, I'm going to pick food because it has a bigger bang. Also, when I think about Other things that you can do is what else are you doing that is going on internally? Like, let's look at your gut. So gut health is important as well. Everything begins and ends in your gut. I saw something in the comments about someone having celiac. Celiac is an autoimmune condition, but there's certain things that you can do that really help with the gut lining. So working on the gut, cleaning up the eating. The other thing is, now, I know we like a little bit of to indulge sometimes in some beverages that may be expressed during the holiday time or when we're a little bit stressed. Wine is there to wind down for a lot of my clients. And what happens is they logically think that drinking wine, and particularly red wine, which has resveratrol in it, that's going to help bring down inflammation. Well, in order to truly have the benefits of resveratrol from that glass of wine, we have to be drunk. That's Pastor Tate. Like, you got to be drunk every night to get it.
Wait, say that again now? What now?
So in wine, there's something called resveratrol. And many
Okay.
people drink wine because it has a health benefit. But to truly have the full benefit from it, we got to be drunk. So instead of reaching for the wine, reach for the supplement resveratrol. But you can't supplement yourself out of a good diet. You can't supplement yourself out of eating well, because at the end of the day, you may end up with something that I teach my clients is this, something called PTSD. And that stands for post-traumatic supplement disorder. Think about it. How many of you have a supplement cabinet, drawer, or bowl? Just think about it. Everybody has something. They're trying to supplement their way out. So you can't supplement your way out. You have to get enough rest to go after inflammation. You have to go look at your inflammation markers. If you have a high homocysteine level, I'm going to put you on something called methylated B vitamins. So when you're looking at your vitamins, you want to make certain they are of great quality, not full of number yellow, red, number 5, number 6, making sure it has the right quality in it, as well as making sure it doesn't have any soy, yeast, or anything like that. So you want to make certain also that you move things that are inflaming. So wheat is also another inflaming thing. So that's in pasta, that's in bread. Take those things out.
Take those things out. So now you said two things when it comes to inflammatory. You used the your big doctor words. So say those again, because she's saying, Fawn is saying, can she repeat the two markers and under what category would I find on that on my lab results? So so set them up to go into the doctor's office and look at their labs differently.
So you're going to go in your doctor's office and say, I'd like to look at my inflammation markers. This is not typically ordered by your primary care doctor. So those two inflammation markers are C-reactive protein. So you write CRP-HS. I'll repeat that. CRP-HS. That is one inflammation marker. The second one is something called homocysteine. 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 Those two inflammation markers are really powerful. I like the C-reactive protein level less than 1, and I prefer the homocysteine level less than 6. So when you go in there and you say, hey, I have this friend of mine that's a physician, and they said, hey, what are your inflammation markers? And I couldn't answer that. Could you please order that for me so I can see what my inflammation markers are? And the reason why you're going to ask for this is because I'm pretty sure many of you know someone who has been healthy in your eyes, worked out, ate clean, did all the right things, and either had a stroke or a heart attack. And you're like, okay, what's going on? That's inflammation. So I highly, highly encourage you to ask for those two markers, C-reactive protein and homocysteine.
And so if they go in and they get those numbers back and that number is 3 or 4 or whatever, what do they need to do? And why isn't that something that's regularly tested?
Because it's not a part of the screening process. When we think about a lot of times, I think insurance companies have their place and it's really great, but a lot of times you need to have a certain diagnosis for someone to go in looking for inflammation markers. Like, oh, okay, this person has had a history of a stroke or a history of a heart attack, or there's some underlying issues going on and I'm trying to figure it all out. So I'm going to order these 2 inflammation markers. So there's that aspect of it. When it comes to looking at, as a functional medicine physician, I'm looking at those markers as a baseline because I want to track it. How are we doing? Because the blood work does not lie, people. The blood work, it's there. It tells you exactly what's going on.
That's your score right there. That's if you want to know the score, that's where your body is keeping the score of where you are. It's in your blood work.
Yep, it definitely. Now, also take into consideration, maybe before you weren't drinking water, so now you're drinking water. Maybe before you weren't doing any type of physical activity, now you're doing physical activity. Your body wants to heal itself, so when you do these things, it starts to heal itself. And getting back to your question as far as what I would do for those inflammation markers, without having a little bit more information, I'm just going to say, with a disclaimer, if I had a patient who had that was in my practice, I would particularly look into some omegas, which is fish oil. I would look into some methylated B vitamins. I would look into turmeric. I may even consider some CoQ10. I may even consider a little bit of ashwagandha, which we're so stressed right now. And we haven't even hit the epitome of stress behind these fires and being in the area. So I would do some things to help relax people because stress right now. And that has major problems.
So one of the big takeaways is inflammation holds disease. So in order for you to even treat the disease, if you're treating a disease but not treating inflammation, then you are not getting the full benefit of your body trying to heal itself. So you're hindering that, right, Dr. T?
Come on, Dr. T.
Hey, I can preach it. I can now, I still got to do it. But that, to me, that concept was a big aha, because knowing that inflammation holds disease, and that I'm going into a doctor's office and their initial goal isn't to treat the inflammation. It just made me be more aware and let me be an advocate to say, let me get more thorough blood work done and let me know my inflammation numbers. Let me know my inflammation markers, because that's very, very valuable. Not only that, a couple of more things I want to hit real quick. You've referenced it a couple of times, your gut health. How do you know whether you have gut health or not? Is our stomach supposed to hurt after we eat? Because we eat good and then your stomach just a little upset. And I normalized bad gut health because I just thought that's how you're supposed to feel after you eat like that. So talk to us about the importance of what it is and how do we manage it?
Okay, so first and foremost, not everybody has symptoms related to their gut. So the most common are nausea, heartburn, bloating, gas, whether that's gas above or gas below, constipation, diarrhea. Those are the classic hallmark symptoms that people tend to have. But there are people who are like, my stomach is perfectly fine. I don't have any problems. I feel good. And so what I'll do in my practice is I'll do a stool study. Yes, I do have you collect a little sample of stool, put it in the vial, send it to the lab.
Amen. I know this well. I've done it.
Send it to the lab, and then it comes back to me and my staff, the results, and we'll look at it. And what I'm looking for is for bacteria that should and should not be there. I look for yeast, worms, parasites. I look for leaky gut, which is where things that shouldn't be in the gut get inside the gut, and the things that should stay inside the gut leave the gut. So in essence, that's a simple definition of leaky gut. So when we think about that, when we start to look into it, you'll start to see imbalances. Many of you know the word probiotic. So you'll just reach for the probiotic. And what you don't realize is that with that probiotic, it may be good for you, quote unquote good. But what happens is if it's not hitting what's going on with the imbalances in your gut, or if it's not, you've been on it for a while, you haven't changed it after 3 to 4 months, then our bodies are so divinely designed that the body adapts. So now it's sitting there, you've got this probiotic, and it's like, okay, we're back to normal for this particular person. So you got to switch it up. Just like you need to switch up your exercise routine, you have to switch up your probiotic. So when we think about looking at the gut, immediately, if you're over the age of 35, I'm going to tell you this. In my practice, many of us have issues with breaking things down for absorption and digestion. So many people should be on a digestive enzyme. You may need to be on something that heals the gut, like glutamine. You may need to also be on a good probiotic, and then maybe some other anti-inflammatory things. But that's in a broad sense of just looking at the gut, because everything begins and ends in the gut. And when you think about your gut actually starts in your mouth. So we have a whole other section of, have you been to the dentist? Because that impacts your cardiovascular health. So we don't even think about teeth and heart together. And then we go.
No, I don't think of that. because the dentist, I mean, because if you can't afford to go, because the dentist is expensive. So my heart insurance is a lot better than my dentist insurance. So, but you're saying one has a direct impact on the other.
Yes. Yes, it does. You need to go and get your teeth cleaned. Make sure they're going and they're looking in there. If you have any silver fillings, they may want to take them out and change it around. Be careful of root canals. I mean, everything. They actually look at individuals who have had heart murmurs, and they'll go ahead and automatically give them an antibiotic because they're a predisposition. Partly because is there anything going on in the mouth? Is there something going on when they go in to do the surgery? There may be something that breaks off and causes problems. But I want you to understand, go to the dentist. And I understand, I do not. If there's any dentists on here, I'm sorry. The dentist and I go in and have to put on earphones. I got to listen to some gospel music. It's stressful. It's
Yeah.
stressful.
No, I have to drink wine to wind down. That's what you said. You said wind down, and you said in order for it to be effective, we got to get drunk. So that's what you said. That's the goal. No, I'm just playing. Now we in sin. Now we in sin. No, we can't do that. So this other one is one that really hit home with me. I mean, with my role as a pastor, and then over the last 2 years, it's just been significantly harder than any other. It's been the hardest years of my life. I've gone through a lot. And this is the whole thing about the Body Keeping Score. I felt pretty discouraged and depressed on a regular basis for a while. And then I sit down with Dr. Tamika, and she says, yeah, I can tell by your blood work that you have been discouraged and depressed. So like she could see it in the numbers. How does that show up? And let's talk about that a little bit. How did you know that I've been discouraged and depressed? How could you tell?
A combination of things. When I'm looking at the blood work, one of the things I looked at was the sodium and potassium, which are your electrolytes. And there was a disconnect. So when you have a disconnect, I mean, either they're not within range, meaning one is high, one is low, or both are high or both are low. So immediately you start to think about the adrenals, which are where your stress hormone cortisol comes from. But one of the telltale signs that makes me pull back the layers even more is when you look at a vitamin D as in dog level. Many times individuals are walking around here with vitamin D levels that are really low, like 13, 20, and I want the vitamin D level around 70. And there's been several studies that have showed that a low vitamin D has been associated with some depression. So you factor in some stress, and we've been like all of us with the fires, with whether it impacted you or not, life, what's going on at home, work, all of us have some type of stress. And then you factor in the stress, and well, let's say you don't have stress and you just, everything is so great. But let's talk about the stress from the foods you're eating. That's adding stress on the body. Let's talk about whether or not you're getting quality sleep. So you factor all these things together and you start to wonder about how's it impacting someone's mood. And so when you look at a vitamin D level, you look at all this other stuff and you hear the whole story. And that's the beauty of functional medicine. You start to put the pictures together and you look at everything. And those of you who say, well, I don't go outside, I work inside the house, or I work inside the building. There are several people who work outside who still have low vitamin D levels. So when we think about vitamin D is a vitamin and a hormone. So it helps fight against cancer. It helps fight against inflammation. So it helps with your depression. So get your vitamin D levels up. And it's a must. It's one of those things that like you want to work on your immune system because there's some bad bugs going around right now as far as respiratory problems causing flu and causing bronchitis and stuff like that. You want to work on your immune system. One of the things that can help you work on your immune system and help you work on your mood is vitamin D.
Vitamin D. All right, last area before we close out, sex drive.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about
it. Like seriously, we going down and we're going through the blood work, and then she said, how's your sex drive? Because this number is looking at this, and then your testosterone looking like so I was like, so she can basically see all your business through the blood work. So the body, when I tell you the body shows up and it drives, what are dietary things that can help for our married people, What's
Very.
what's
Oh.
what's something that could help build a healthy sex? What are some of the contributing factors that help contribute to a healthy sex drive?
Okay, well, first and foremost, let's pull back the layers on that. How's the communication at home, first of all? Like, are you being pleased sexually or not? And then if a person, especially let's talk about, I'm not going to pick on men just yet because a lot of men don't complain about their sex drive. They'll more so complain about, I feel real tired after I come from the gym. I'm not able to recover. And then I'm not putting on muscle the way I used to. So that's the area that most men will come from. And then I'll look at the blood work. And for women, it's like the sex drive is like you just want to put on your granny panties and like stay away from people. So you put the granny panties on, you leave the room, like, don't touch me. You try to hurry up and fall asleep, but then you have a hot flash. So hormonal changes are real. So one of the things I want you to understand is you don't necessarily have to do hormone replacement, which is a prescription, which helps a little bit faster at times. But there's certain things that we're going to go back to the basics as like, is your cortisol level? How's your stress level? What's your DHEA level? So about that is D as in dog, H as in Henry, E as in Eric, A as in apple, -S for sulfate. So if you were to ask your doctor for that level, a DHEA -sulfate -S, that level sometimes can be very low, which is the precursor to testosterone, which is the precursor to estrogen. So if you have a lower DHE level, that can also contribute to it. Things that you can take the supplement DHEA. As we go back to that scorecard, when I look at the blood work, that DHEA level is in there. Other things that you can think about too is, looking into eating a healthier diet, maybe doing things like winding down with stretching. So we can all agree stretching is good for the body. So it gives you, number one, it's good for the body. Number two, tension builds throughout the day. So stretching is a tension reliever. And then number three, it gives you a win before going to sleep. So if you're more relaxed before going to bed, there may be a more likelihood that you like, okay, I may be a little bit more into you. But at the end of the day, if you're under stress, the body has the signal of we're going to be stressed and go into survival, or we're going to have sex. If you're under stress, the body, you're automatically going to lean towards, I need to survive, as opposed to having sex. So that's why I'm saying do the things that help you relax, and then have more conversations about getting your blood work drawn, because with that, we can see where you are. And there are some natural things you can take as far as various supplements that can help support whether you're having hot flashes, night sweats, and so forth. And then men, there are certain things you can take as well. And men as well can take DHEA. And for women, those of you who aren't sleeping, a lot of times if we look into your progesterone level, which also can be contributed to a woman feeling like she's depressed, a low progesterone level helps calm you down, helps you sleep better. But a lot of times your levels checked. So having your testosterone, your estrogen, and your progesterone, along with your DHEA levels checked, will definitely be quite beneficial overall. And then if you're like, I've done all that and I still feel like I don't feel like myself, then one of the things I would say, I would step in to speak with like a functional medicine doctor like myself or a hormone specialist and say, okay, I need these levels checked. I want to know what my options are because I'm trying to get my sexy back.
Now, for the original that you called out, your estrogen, testosterone,
progesterone,
that one, and then the
DHEA.
The DHEA. Is that a part of a normal blood workup for a traditional doctor?
No. So what you would say is, can you order me a sex hormone panel?
Okay.
You can look at your levels.
Got it.
Hormone panel is essential.
Got it. This is so good. This is not the, do you have to stop taking hormones like birth control in order to truly test your levels?
So for me, if you're already on birth control, then it's definitely going to look a little bit different when it comes to your labs. But at the end of the day, the labs are a guide. How you're feeling is what I'm following. So the labs are there to guide me with what's going on with you, as far as how you're physically feeling is what actually is going to lead me to what treatment plan we're going to come up with together.
Yes, yes, yes. And somebody's trying to clarify, I believe. Did she say sex hormone panel?
Yes, sex hormone panel.
Yep, yep. Ask for that. Doctor, this is so good. I feel like we hit a lot of stuff. You can go back, and if you missed anything, you can go back on and watch it. This will live on my YouTube page. So you can go to my YouTube page and do that. Dr. Tamika, if people wanted to connect with you, how do they connect with you?
I'm going to give you two ways. You can call the office at 626-389-8922 and say that you heard me on Good News Today. Again, that's 626-389-8922. And if you're a social media person, then I would say follow me on Instagram at I am Dr. Dr. Tamika. And now you know we spell Tamika all kinds of ways, so I'm gonna spell it for you. M as in Mary, IKA. Again, that's I am Dr. Dr. Tamika, TAM as in Mary, IKA. And there you can DM me, and my team and I will reach out to you and see how we can set up. I do a free consultation up front with my staff. We'll talk to you and see what's going on, how we can be of service to you.
That is awesome. Give the phone number one more time, and then somebody write it in the chat so people can see it and grab it. One more time.
That's 626-389-8922.
Great. Yeah, somebody put it in the chat. Yo, this was great. Any final thoughts for people that are trying to get their health together? It's January. We still got time. We're trying to get our summer bodies, trying to do. So if you set a goal for this year and you want to encourage people with their health, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are this. I need you to think of it this way. I need you to have more days on than off, which means I need you to have more meals where you're on target than you're not on target. So that way you give yourself some wins. So don't I didn't work out. I didn't do this. Okay, what did you do right at this meal? Okay, you messed up. Okay, the next meal, get it right. Just take it one meal at a time.
That's good. That's good. The other thing I'll give is what you said to me, and it helped me understand how eating and exercise works together. You said my eating was a big priority, and then you said, Albert, if you could just move for about 30 minutes a day, and you said what movement does is exercise just accelerates anything good you're trying to do in your body. So if exercise just helps it happen faster. Explain that a little bit. Did I get it right?
So what it does is it just helps things move things along. So you're already doing the eating, you're trying to get the sleeping. So now you're like, I need to add a little oomph to it. So you just add activity, add a little physical activity, and that is a win. Whether that's in a chair, whether that's moving around, walking, long as you do something.
Yeah. Your
ability. And don't try to do something crazy. Like keep it simple.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Dr. Tamika, I've been we've been journeying together for a long time. Got off the wagon and I got back on. I'm still climbing back on. I'm February 1st is when I plan to fully be on. I got my supplements in the mail. How much vitamin D should I be taking, by the way? I got this bottle, but I don't know how many I should be taking.
Well, you were extra low.
I was extra low. A brother had a hard time, y'all. I was struggling. I was supposed to be at 70, y'all. I was well below 20. I was well below.
Deep down in the crevices.
Yeah. I was down. Our brother was low. So what I need to be taking so I can get up?
Get up. Okay. So what I want you to do is for you, Pastor Tate. I am talking to Pastor Tate, who has given me permission to say this.
Yes. You can say it.
For him. We're going to do 10,000 units a day for the next 3 weeks. 10,000 units a day for the next 3 weeks. And then you're going to go down to 5,000 units.
Okay. And is that what you would recommend a regularly encouraged person to do?
No,
is 5,000?
I would say 5,000, yes.
5,000.
Not
5,
the 10. Not the 10.
Okay, I'm on the 10. But if y'all depressed, check your numbers. If y'all discouraged, if your vitamin D numbers are low, because pastors and people, what I love about it is you give us permission. I'm playing some emotional music right here, so get ready. I want you to be caught off guard. But what I love is life is hard, and challenges and stress, and I know I'm not the only one that had a stressful, hard season. Many of us, just by nature of our jobs alone, it carries a weight. Some of you literally lost your homes. So I guess what I want to make sure that you do is what I did. I just put the medical stuff on, but I was trying to put out so many other fires in my life, and so many other issues in my life. I just said, well, let me put my medicine, my health on the back burner. And the first thing Dr. Tamika said was, your body is what got you here thus far. So number one, your body has been faithful and has kept you together. Honor it, support it, acknowledge it, and take care of it. So what this did is it confirmed, wow, I have had a hard time and my body has kept score. So it has affected my body. What you are going through, what you're experiencing, it is affecting your body. So take time. Your body keeps score. Know your score so we can know what we need to do to win. Amen?
Amen.
Thank y'all so much for hanging with us. Y'all reach out to Dr. Tamika, and she'll be back to help us out as we focus for the next 100 days. Love y'all. Peace.
Thank you.